All right, so 3 years ago, I made a video on this channel on this product, the Mass Drop Control Keyboard. And I titled the video, I Found the Perfect Keyboard. Because at the time, this thing was super special. It had USB-C connection. It had hot swappable switches. It had cool RGB lighting. It was a metal build and wasn't super expensive. This was very special at the time. It was very suiting to that title. But 3 years later, it's completely not the case. This is remarkably overpriced for what you're getting, and it's like an underwhelming product considering the market, because over the past few years, the whole mechanical and custom keyboard market has just blown up. We've seen so many players come into the game, so many companies making good stuff at better pricing. And this here is the Keychron Q1. And this is the epitome of what happens to a hobby when you have a big enough audience and enough competitors coming into the space to try to make and outdo each other with better products, cheaper products. And this keyboard at $150 for the bare bones kit is what I would consider to be the best value you can get in the custom keyboard market right now. So if you've ever been interested in the whole custom keyboard world, like you want to personalize or modify your keyboard or tweak it to make it sound a certain way, look a certain way, this is what I would consider to be a really good starting point. And the question is, like, why would you want one? For me, and I think for a lot of people that get into this, the biggest difference is sound. So I'm going to talk about this keyboard in its stock form first. I'm going to show you some things I like about it, some things I don't like about it, and then I'm going to show you a mod that I've done to it that I think just makes it a better overall experience for the average person. So for the $150 price tag, you get a bare bones kit, or if you're inclined, you can pay an extra $20 and you'll get switches and the keycaps as well. Now, the Keychron Q1 is a 75% gasket mounted keyboard. It's got hot swappable switches. It has a USB-C connection. It also has a switch to swap between Mac and Windows. The paper specs of the Q1 is great. Now, the lighting is not the main focus. If you look on the outside, there's no exterior light bars or underglow or anything like that. It's only a subtle RGB lighting system, and you can tweak it on the software. You can use either VIA or a QMK to control it. Now, if we take a look at the insides, there are a few things I want to draw your attention to. The first is the backplate. So this is an aluminum backplate. I do believe that they'll be offering other materials down the line, but on the starting launch, it's going to be just aluminum. And then we're looking at a piece of Poron. So this is the PCB foam that they're using. And then we're looking at the PCB itself. Now, the first thing here is the stabilizers. I much prefer the stabilizers on this than what was seen on the GMMK Pro. So this was a very popular keyboard. I was sent a review and I never did the video on it, but the stabilizers on these were weirdly sticky. And even if you did mods, like removing the lube, it was just weird that a company like Glorious would deliver a product that had stabilizers like that. I like the keyboard, but the stabilizers on here, way better. They're Gateron, they're properly lubed, they're good. And then the PCB itself uses a 5-pin modular type, so you can swap out whatever switches you like in there. It's a very widely compatible type of pin, as well as a south-facing LED, so you can use most switches and just have a proper shine through in this type of keyboard configuration. Now, in the top right corner, there is a interesting thing going on. So if you look at the keyboard itself, like the constructed keyboard, you'll notice a badge there. Like it's got my logo that they put on it. But this is a customizable area. So you can put a badge in it if you so choose. You can add another key there, or you can add a rotary knob. So this is something they showed on their website in the earlier stages of their launch, this idea of a dial that you could attach to the keyboard. It does not exist yet. It's something that they plan on adding supposedly, but it's not as easy of a swap as you might think. Like, it doesn't just hot swap in. You have to replace the PCB because the current board can only support either the badge or a key. It can't do that rotary knob. It needs a separate piece of PCB to do it, or just a completely different board. So I don't like that. I feel like that image was a little bit misleading in the beginning. I love the idea of the dial because on the GMMK Pro, this is awesome. The ability to control your volume, or if you're in Premiere, you can program it to do whatever you want. It's awesome, but it doesn't work, or it doesn't exist right now on the Q1. So the switches you can get on the pre-builts right now are Gateron Phantom switches, and they're essentially lubed versions, factory lubed versions of the Gateron switches. You can get them in brown, red, and blue. I have all three in terms of just like the variations of the switches. I have a strong preference for the brown switches. I will show you one thing though. So if you'll notice right here, this is the Phantom brown switch. It's got this brown tint to the whole switch. So if you have any kind of lighting, it has to shoot through that brown tint before you can see it. And it just colors the lighting in this weird way. And you'll notice it on the red and the blue and obviously the brown versions. And I really don't like that. I feel like your RGB lighting is going to look off. And also, the keycaps. These are not good. They're supposedly double shot PBT still, but there's something about them that just feel really sloppy. They're, slightly askew and there's a little bit of bloom on all the characters. I don't love them. Now, if I was making a suggestion for you guys, if you're interested in this keyboard, if you can swing it, I'd skip the $20 edition for that kit. I would just go for the bare bones and use your own switches and your own keycaps. The switches are good. I like the way they type, the reds and the browns and the blues. They type like a lubed version of whatever you'd expect, right? Factory lubed, but it's not for me. It's not for me. Okay, there's one other thing I want to show you. Underneath the PCB is, if I can get this off, a piece of Poron. Okay, now before we do the sound test, I want to mention one thing. I do not like the sound of the Q1 at stock. It has this resonant ping to it that I don't particularly like, but it is very easy to fix. So I tried several of the popular mods people do to improve the acoustics of the custom keyboards. I tried PE foam on the top of the PCB, I tried taping on the bottom, and none of them produced sounds that I really liked. And then I stumbled upon this. I used a thicker piece of PE. This came from a laptop package actually, and it's probably 3, maybe even 4 mils, and I placed it on the bottom, on top of the case foam, and then the PCB goes on top. This is super untraditional. I would never have even thought of doing this, but the only reason I tried is because there's so much space on the bottom. I'm like, maybe this will work. And I think it sounds really nice. That's a nice sounding keyboard to me. I particularly like the spacebar. It's this nice, deep thonk. I like it. And I think it sounds better than the GMMK Pro. So I've spent a lot of time modding this thing, tweaking it. I could never get this thing to sound the way I wanted it to. And the stabilizers are a little bit weird. I never loved this device for my personal preference. But yeah, this sounds nice. It doesn't sound as nice as Teja's Bower thing that Nathan made me from Teja Types. This thing is that's on a whole nother level. That's a lot more expensive. But there you have it, Keychron Q1. It includes a coiled cable in the box with an aviator connection that's seemingly included with the Q1. But if you picked up like a GMMK Pro, it's a separate additional purchase. So there you have it, Keychron Q1. It's got a lot of stuff going for it, and at that price point, I feel like you can't go wrong. And I think that if you're interested in picking up a keyboard, like a new keyboard, you're looking at something high-end from another brand, like, I don't know, like a Razer or Corsair product or like a Logitech product, you're gonna spend 150, 180 bucks anyways. Take a look at the customs. It's a cool world out here. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. See you guys next time.